Hi everyone and welcome to Traveling Misknits. My name is Pia and I am, as always, so very happy that you're joining me here today for a little chat about yarn and knitting. Today I have a finished object. I have a finished object turned work in progress, which is kind of frustrating. I also have some significant progress on a long-standing WIP. I have a couple of new cast-ons. I have a dream crochet project. But before we get into all this, I just want to mention what I'm wearing today, which is probably a pattern that most of you know already. This is the Shifty pullover from Andrea Mowry. This one is knit in a yarn that is unfortunately, as far as I know, not available anymore. It is a rustic Latvian wool with some really long color changes. And yeah, it just turned out, I think, beautifully. I did do some color management. The sleeves are not the same, but they're similar. And also I did cut out, there was a lot of purple yarn and pinks. I did cut out some of those, but I am very, very happy with the result. This is a $45 Shifty. The original Shifty is knit in spin cycle. This is the budget-friendly version. And that's not because I don't like working with luxury yarns. For sure I do. One of the projects that I'm going to show you is luxury yarn. But I knit a lot. So if I don't want to knit myself into financial doom, I do have to find a balance between the luxury and the more budget-friendly options. So this is an example of a budget-friendly option and a sweater that I really, really love. The finished object that I have it's kind of modest. It's a dishcloth. Yay me, I finished the dishcloth. I was going through my dishcloths. I have some in Denmark. I have some here in Italy where I'm at right now. And they were looking a bit worn. And I was trying to think back. And I realized that they are 8+ years old. So maybe it's time that I make some new ones. This is the pattern that I prefer for my dishcloths. I have knit this so many times. I think it's a beautiful cloth and it's relatively easy to work. I do have a free pattern for this on my blog. Unfortunately, it is in Danish, but I think that with Google Translate, you can probably use the pattern. It is very simple. It is just garter ridges, a very simple lace, and then some stockinette stitch in the center. I am using fingering weight cotton that I hold double, or DK weight cotton if that's available to me. When I use the fingering weight cotton, I can typically get 3 cloths out of 2 balls of yarn, like 100 grams of yarn. And yeah, it's not a large cloth. I think it's the perfect size. I don't want my knitted dishcloths to be too large because I want them to be able to dry fast so that I can just hang them without folding them. And yeah, they do hold up pretty well. As I said, 8+ years, and now they're ready to be retired. I am hoping to make quite a few of these. It is my plan. I am trying to hold myself to it, to making at least one every week. Then I will at some point have enough that I can change all of my cloths. Then I have, as I said, a finished object turned work in progress. And that is, of course, kind of frustrating, disappointing. It is my quarantine shawl that I finished some weeks ago. I loved it. I was so happy with it. I blocked it and I started wearing it. And when I started wearing it, I realized that the edges were curling up on themselves. I did do a special row to prevent it from curling, where I knit into the stitch 2 rows below, but that was not enough. Then I picked out my bind off and I knit an edge that I could fold in on itself. I have ripped out most of it because what happened was I didn't like how it looked. I wanted more of the main color to finish off the shawl. So now I am going to rip back the rest of that edging, and I'm going to re-knit it. I'm going to have a little bit more of the dark color before the folded over edging. And then hopefully I will have a finished quarantine shawl. Of course, when you're doing a folded over edge on a triangular shawl, you have to think about the middle stitch. The middle stitch is where you work your increases as you work the shawl. When you're then doing the folded over edge, you have to work decreases where you would work increases as you were knitting the body of the shawl, just to make sure that it will fold in nicely and follow the lines of the shawl. But yeah, that is a job for when this shawl has convinced me that it knows that it's been bad and it has promised me to behave. It's gonna happen because I want to wear the shawl. Then I have some progress on my in and out raglan, and I have been showing this over and over again. But now, look at this. Finally, I have some significant progress on it. I finished the body. I almost finished the first sleeve. The In and Out Raglan is a free sweater recipe. It's available on the blog of the Republic of Me. Ivana, who has a beautiful YouTube channel, has made this recipe available to us. And it is not a pattern per se, it's a recipe. You choose your cast on number, that's your in row, and then you choose how big you want it over the chest, that's your out row. And then she gives some tips. She doesn't have short rows in the neckline as such. I have added a few of those. And then I have followed her instructions to do a short row over the stitches for the back for every 16 rounds. And I have tried it on, it fits perfectly. I have also done some waist shaping. I have just decreased some stitches going down the body, because this is a little bit longer than my sweaters usually are. And I'm thinking maybe I'm going to tuck it into my pants. And in that case, I don't want too much fabric around my waist. So what I did is just that I decreased stitches 2 at a time. around the center stitch under the sleeves. I don't even know if you can tell here, but that's what I did. I did try it on to make sure that I didn't start the decreasing before I was past the full chest, the full bust, so that the decreasing were only on the body itself. And yeah, as I said, I tried it on. It fits me perfectly. The sleeve is, it's a relatively fitted sleeve, much like the one that's on the shifty. I did some decreases as I was past the elbow. I did some decreases, and I just put light bulb stitch markers for every decrease so that it's easy for me when I start on sleeve number 2. What I want to do now is, before I finish this sleeve, I want to knit the neckline, because the sweater is going to pull in when I add the neckline, and I want to make sure that the sleeve is long enough also when the neckline is pulled in. And I have decided that I want a turtleneck. So I'm gonna pick up my stitches, I'm gonna knit a tall turtleneck, then I'm gonna try on the sweater again to see how long the sleeve needs to be before I can bind it off and finish sleeve number 2. This is a wonderful project, and I have taken my sweet time with it, but in my defense, I don't really want to finish. Well, I want to wear the sweater, but I am so enjoying this project. It is a project where the yarn is very special to me. The yarn that I'm using, it's all things that have been gifted to me by dear, dear friends and family members. So it feels like they're with me as I'm knitting. Plus, I am just purely enjoying this super luxurious yarn. This is Noro Silk Garden Sock Solo, it's called, and it's the colorway, let me just check, S44. So it is this sandy beige, kind of warm beige with all of these little flecks of colors in it. And I am holding it together with another Japanese yarn, the Ito Sensei, in the colorway Goat. And these two together, I am loving this fabric. I am loving how the two yarns work together. The Ito Sensei kind of mutes the Noro, so it makes it a little more moody in the tone, and it also helps tie all the little flecks of colors together. I also love that it's not an overly mohairy piece. It has a halo, of course it does, it's mohair, but it doesn't have a lot of halo. So it's just a little bit of floof, just enough floof that it looks cozy, but not poofy, if you know what I mean. I am really, really enjoying this. And I will say that the Ito Sensei silk mohair, it does have a very high silk content, which makes it softer than many of the other silk mohairs out there. This I can easily have against my neck. I can't do that with all mohairs out there, but this one for sure I can. It is very, very soft. So I am gonna go for the turtleneck on this one. Yeah, can't wait to finish it. It is gonna be absolutely lovely. It's going to be a classic. It's going to be something that I will keep in my wardrobe for years and years to come. And every time I put it on, I'm sure I'm going to remember all of the generous people who helped me get this yarn. The Noro silk was a present from a podcast viewer. Very generous present, I may say. And the Ito Sensei is kind of a Christmas present. I got 4 copies of the same knitting book for Christmas from different family members. I returned 3 of them and used the money to buy this Ito Sensei. So there's a lot of people very dear to me who are involved in this sweater. Let's see. Yeah, it is cast on time. I have been quite a disciplined knitter lately. I have been focusing on a few projects, which also means that I have been finishing stuff. But I have felt, oh, sorry, mohair. I have felt the cast-on-itis starting to take over. I'm still containing myself, but I do have a couple of cast-ons. The first one is one that has been planned since December or even before that. If you followed my Vlogmas, you saw that I was opening the Harry Potter Advent from Yarn Cafe Creation and Dragon Horde Yarn. And I was doing a guessing game with my granddaughter Isabella because this yarn was intended for her. I wanted to make a blanket for her using the Harry Potter yarn because she is a Harry Potter fan. I got the chance to spend 10 days in the Maldives with Isabella, and we were talking a lot about this blanket. I had the idea to make my Minimax blanket, which is a blanket knit in panels of these triangles that are stacked on top of each other. But she was like, nah, that was not what she had in mind. So she told me that what she really wanted was a white blanket with just random triangles here and there. And I was stopped. I was like, I don't know how to make that. I mean, am I going to cast on a lot of stitches and then do the triangles with intarsia? I didn't want to do that. I don't like knitting intarsia. I mean, I can do it, but it's not something that I enjoy. So we were talking back and forth. We were drawing sketches for each other. And then all of a sudden, a great idea formed in my mind. That's not very modest, but it was a great idea. I could use my Minimax pattern, but instead of doing full triangles, I could do most of the blanket white and then just tips of the different triangles in the Advent colors. So we drew this. This is the last of many, many tries. We agreed on this one where you have mostly white and then you have these little triangles of color. And I started knitting. I am almost finished with the first panel. And this is not something that I will be showing over and over on the podcast here. I am gonna reserve it for my Blankets of Calm episodes, but I thought I would just share the beginnings of it. Let's see if I can see. Do you see how we have random triangles on a white background? I'm probably gonna have to knit 4 panels. I am using a smaller needle than from my original Minimax, which I'm just gonna go get it. Hang on. See here, the original Minimax blanket is knit holding 1 strand of advents or scraps or whatever, 1 strand of each color together with a strand of mohair. And it is knit on a large needle to get this very drapey, open fabric. But I decided that I didn't want to hold it with mohair. I wanted the colors to really shine. I didn't want to blend the colors together. I wanted them to really shine each on their own. So I went down on a needle size 4.5 millimeters, which I guess is a US 7 if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be quite different. As you can see, the panels are much wider on the original Minimax blanket, but I'm just going to make 4 panels instead of 3, and I am going to get a blanket that Isabella will love and hopefully treasure, because there's quite a lot of knitting in this, but it's fun knitting. It's a lot of fun to sit and place the triangles and decide on the actual size of them, because in our drawing we did mark some of them as larger triangles, some of them as smaller triangles. But still, making the decision as I knit along and I look at the rhythm and the balance of the blanket, I am having a lot of fun knitting that one. I am using, as I said, the Advent, and then I am using Drops Merino Extra Fine as the main color, and it is the off-white colorway, because Isabella told me it shouldn't be like white. It should be more almost like it's yellow, but it's not yellow. So I decided that the off-white would be the perfect choice. My other cast on is also for Isabella. As I said, we were in the Maldives together, and she was just like me, always wearing her swimsuit and some shorts. But she also wanted a cover-up, just like I do. And one day she grabbed look at my holes, and she kept it. She loved it. It is a beautiful pattern by James and Watts. I'm sure most of you already know that pattern. But as we were getting ready to say goodbye, packing up our suitcases, she asked me if I could knit one for her. See, this pattern, I got a request from my daughter-in-law to knit one for her. Now I got it from my granddaughter. I don't enjoy knitting that pattern. I really enjoy the finished objects. They're just beautiful. They're just amazing. But the combination of the yarn that I used for mine and that I'm also using for Isabella's, which is the Drops Bell. This is a cotton linen yarn. The combination of this yarn that has no give, no elasticity to it, and the stitch pattern, it just hurts my elbow. The one that I made for my daughter-in-law, I used a cotton acrylic blend. Was it called Yarn Art or something? It was something that I got off Amazon, and that worked like a charm, because the acrylic just gave it a little more give. But the only thing I had available in my collection was the drop spell, so that's what I'm using for hers. And I'm just trying to be very mindful of my elbow, not work on it for too long, and be very careful when I do. See, not work on it too long. I definitely managed that. This is all I have. I only just cast on. I am knitting the size small for her. There's an extra small as well, but she really liked that it was very oversized, and mine is knit in a size medium, so I thought I'll go down just one size and make it a little bit shorter than mine so that it looks like it was actually made for her. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. I'm not a huge gift knitter, but this really makes me happy, even though I know that it's also going to give me pain. There you go. It's what you want. I do have one thing that I am itching to cast on, and this is for myself. I am mostly a selfish knitter. I was one evening just scrolling through Ravelry, and at some point I started looking for crochet dresses, and I found this. How beautiful is this dress? And then when I looked at it in more details, I was sold. It's a free pattern. The designer just asks that you donate to a charity of your own choosing. And when you share photos of your project or your finished dress, that you also tell the story of this dress, that she wants to create a better world. So it's called the Better World dress. It is absolutely beautiful. I don't think it's too difficult. I've been reading through the pattern. I've been looking at the schematics. It's definitely doable. It's definitely something that's going to take all of my attention, which is quite okay. I like that kind of project, as long as it's not the only thing I have going. But let's agree, I have other stuff going as well. I am really looking forward to crocheting this dress. I did bring some yarn for it. I brought the Brazilian cotton. It's called Anne. It's from Circular yarn. It's a fingering weight cotton yarn that I have used before, and I like it. It's a nice cotton yarn. There's not so much to say about it. It's not like a Pima cotton or anything, just a plain old fingering weight cotton yarn in a very budget-friendly version. So I am gonna cast on for that dress really, really soon, because I can't not. I really like it. And then I just have to decide which charity is most worthy of a donation in this respect, in connection with crocheting this beautiful dress. That was it for the creative content this week. Life outside of my project bags has been super exciting lately. Last time we spoke, I was still in the Maldives with Peter and with Isabella. We were just having the best time ever. It was absolutely wonderful to be able to show her all the amazing and exciting beauty that is the Maldives. It's the first time that we've been able to bring her on vacation. We've had her for a few days here in Italy, but a real vacation, it's the first time. Her parents are divorced, so there's always someone that's missing her terribly. But this time we were able to bring her, and it was special. I will never forget this trip. After the Maldives, we had just a couple of days in Denmark. We just had time to throw our suitcases, hug the people we love, and jump into the car, and then we drove down here to Italy. As we were driving, the weather forecast let us know that we'd be driving through a lot of snow going over the Alps. And we were like, we hope that everyone else has nice winter tires on their cars, as do we. But it turned out to be not too bad. We were driving in snow, but it was not horrible. The weather forecast had also kind of promised snow here in our house, but there's no snow. It's been raining more or less nonstop since we came, which is okay. I mean, rain, that's knitting weather, so I'm not complaining. Yesterday we did have an afternoon of sun, so we of course ran out of the house and tried to climb a mountain, which I couldn't, but we had a lot of fun trying. I do hope that we will have a few days of sun here and there, or maybe not even full days, but just half days so we can go out. I know that you can walk in the rain, but it's not really pleasurable. So I am keeping my fingers crossed for just a little bit of sunshine so that we can get out. Until that happens, I am enjoying sitting in here and knitting my days away. I am gonna end things here. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have something wonderful and amazing to work on. I hope that you will have a lovely week until we meet again. I'm also going to put out, next week, I'm going to put out a regular podcast episode, but I'm also going to put out a Blankets of Calm episode. So I hope I will see you for one or both of those. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, and keep knitting.